Welcome to the 50th episode of the Behind the Mic Show, presented by Ford of Tuscola. To celebrate, we welcome in Buckus Award winner, college football Hall of Famer, and Illini legend, Dana Howard. Also, the BTM crew talks NFL draft. Is Joe Burrow a true number one? Do the Lions, Dolphins, and Niners make moves? And how far will Tua fall if he falls? And later on the show, we break down the first two episodes of ESPN's docuseries, The Last Dance, plus so much more. Now, here's your host of the Behind the Mic Show, Keith Gibson and Sam Irwin.
Welcome, everybody, to the Behind the Mic Show live from the Cheap Seat Sports Bar and Grill. Keith Gibson alongside me, Sam Irwin, as we celebrate 50 episodes of the Behind the Mic Show. Can you believe we made it together this far?
5-0, can't believe it. I mean, man, half a century. How about it? Boy,
big show tonight. It is exciting. Yeah. You've had a good day. I saw on Twitter earlier, Stone Cold.
That's Stone Cold. So, yeah, I went and bought this today from a local liquor store. I asked if they had it, and they did, because I know it's been hard to get. And so I got it, and I tweeted it to old Stone Cold because I see he replies, because obviously it's his beer and he's trying to push it. And by God, if he didn't reply to me with a hell yeah. So what a great start to the show, because that just happened about 30 minutes ago.
I mean, could you even talk?
What's that?
Could you even talk when that happened?
Nope. Just really happy. Just popped this. Thought I'd have another one. So for Stone Cold, if he's watching, which I doubt, but nevertheless, good start. So.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Been a good week. We've had a lot of things happening here. Been a busy week for us. Got a lot of things to talk about. We had Dylan on last week, but tonight we've got a Hall of Famer, a legend, a Buckus Award winner, and a two-time All-American from the University of Illinois. That's Dana Howard. Looking forward to having him come on here in just a little bit. We're going to talk NFL draft and dive deep into that as well. And then, Sammy, I know you're looking forward to later on in the show when we're going to talk about The Last Dance.
Oh, yes, the Chicago Bulls documentary. So we definitely have plenty to talk about tonight. And some exciting news coming for Thursday as well, that we'll talk about later on. But, yeah, the documentary, really excited to talk about and see kind of what people's feedback would be on that. I know we got a lot of Michael Jordan fans out there. But, after watching that, I don't know. There's more to that story.
That's right. I agree. Agreed.
Yeah, but no.
Apparently, everybody thinks I'm Jerry Krause's love child. Thanks.
If you, I don't know. Why are you blaming me? You're the one that looks like him. I'm just the one that pointed it out. But you have to be related. And I know that Booze Cow originated from the Chicagoland area. We know that as well. So if he's not your real father, he's damn sure an uncle or a cousin or something. Because it's just, you guys look way too much alike. So. Yeah, but can you recognize talent like Jerry Krause did? We'll get into that.
We will.
Do you have that gift? No. Yeah. But no, Dana Howard, that's the main reason why we're here. Very excited to have him on. Man, what a stud in the early 90s for the University of Illinois. And what a great defense. So very excited to talk to him and see what he's doing with his life these days.
You know what's nice, Sam Irwin? It's the 50th episode. We got a lot to talk about. And we have a lot of sports to talk about for once. Not just we've actually got a lot of things to talk about as far as NFL trades. We've got Major League Baseball to talk about a little bit later, some wrestling. So, we've got a lot of things to cover tonight, but a big 50th show here on the Behind the Mic Show. So looking forward to everything else good for you last week.
It has been. Yeah, things have kind of calmed down a little bit with the old Corona and the mad rush. So things have kind of calmed down, in terms of the liquor world being completely insane and everybody buying things up. And, it's one of those deals. So, but no, just getting by. Other than that, had a good weekend. How about yourself?
Yeah, it was good. Didn't do a whole lot, actually. Worked Saturday and did some landscaping. Got to keep the yard up, You
do.
I talked to our bees trees guy, Greg Miller, about trimming some bushes and some trees. And, of course, we'll get to that. We got a big trivia question tonight, don't we, Sammy, for Bees Trees?
Yes, we do. It's a little preview of what might be coming up.
Right. Yeah.
Because we always, Keith, we keep evolving. We keep growing, and thanks to some of our wonderful followers here and listeners of the show and avid fans, they are helping us out, like Ryan Martin getting us in touch with these University of Illinois people. Now maybe Jordan Tolliver's got us in touch with someone that will maybe talk about.
That's all we'll say.
We'll tease. That's all we're going to say right now. But we definitely got a big time guest coming up in a week or two.
Yep.
So pretty exciting. So yeah, big things are happening, my friend.
Yeah.
Big
Other than
things
that, spent the last couple of days with Kay. Doing the daddy thing, and we've been on walks and painted fingernails today, and took her out to lunch. I tell you what.
Oh, and a great story I'll share real quick as we're waiting on.
Yeah, we're good.
Howard,
we got time.
Okay, as Mr. Howard joins. So the girls came down this weekend, and there's literally nothing to do because everything's shut down. So our main activity was to go to the park and walk around, and let the 6-year-old burn off some energy, and of course we keep our distance, 6 feet at all times for everybody else. But it was beautiful down here this weekend. So we go to the park and brought the chalk art and all that stuff. So she's coloring on the sidewalks around the lake, and beautiful afternoon, having lunch, things like that. Well, out of nowhere, this older gentleman comes up, and he's got kind of like a husky looking dog, but the husky is off the leash. And we're like, well, that's different because, around the park, you're supposed to keep on a leash, especially a dog like that. You just don't know. Very friendly dog. But he went down in the lake, chasing the ducks, come back out. You're just having a big old time. And then the old man was following him around, but he could never catch up. Well, then it became obvious that this dog had gotten off the leash. The old man could not catch him because every time he got within about 5 feet, the dog takes off again. 5 feet, dog takes off again. We're like,
hold on. Before you go on, how hard were you laughing at this point when the old man couldn't catch the dog?
It was enjoyable, but then I started thinking, this guy's never going to leave because this dog's never going to stop for him. So we decided to go up to the old man and say, hey, do you need some help trying to get this? He goes, yes, if you could. I can't get this dog, whatever. She'll never come back to the park this way. She's going to act. But what happened was she saw the geese and the ducks around the pond and got excited and came out of her leash. They weren't prepared for that. So we start to help. And we chased this dog for a good 30 minutes all over this park. And I was throwing out like pieces of chicken. It would get within about 5 feet. But if you reach down to like, hey, be nice, it'd take off. Get close, take off over and over. And I'm like, oh, wow. And it wouldn't listen. It didn't answer to its name. I've never seen a dog like this. They said they've had this dog 6 years. I'm thinking I would trade this in on 2 3-year-old dogs before I'd have this 6-year-old dog again. So anyway, we get to a point where it's not happening. The old man has called his sons to come help. And the 6-year-old Ella said, because we just give it like, sir, sorry, because the dog had taken off by this point. It was a good 100 yards away. And said, we're going to, he said, well, thanks for helping. We appreciate it. Yeah, no problem. Well, Ella goes, I want to try one more time. We're like, have a ball. So this 6-year-old takes off at a dead run towards this dog. The dog sees her, big old smile dog, jumps up in the air and takes off running. And then Ella turns around. The dog is chasing her and now passes her. So Ella keeps running behind this dog. And she is now herding this dog, I don't know, by accident or she has a gift, and runs this dog. We've tried this for 30 minutes. The old woman that was driving the van, the wife, the old man, has the side door open, and Ella guided that dog right into the van, shut the door. Out of nowhere. And we're like, unbelible.
Took a 6-year-old to do that for you.
Right. We couldn't get it advantage, but she did on a last-ditch effort. It was amazing. So anyway, but so that was some excitement. That's about as exciting as it gets. Yeah, about as exciting as it gets. You can't do anything else.
Yep, we did that Sunday as well. Went to the park and took a walk. I think everybody's getting a little stir crazy, Sammy, but we got to do what we got to do. So hey, let's take a quick break. Come back and hopefully Dana will join us here, and we'll get things going with him. If not, we can shoot the bull a little more till he gets here. How's that sound, Sammy?
Mm-hmm. Sounds good to me.
All right, we'll be right back here on the Behind the Mic Show from the Cheap Seats Sports Bar and Grill.
Mo, Sammy, congratulations on number 50. Love watching you guys do your thing. You guys are the best. Keep it up. Cheers to many more. Go Cardinals.
Tax time means savings time at Ford of Tuscola. The Behind the Mic Show and Ford of Tuscola have teamed up to save you an extra $250 on your next vehicle purchase just by being a listener. They have a great selection of both new and pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs starting at $24.95. Mention the Behind the Mic Show when you stop by or email BTM at FordofTuscola.com for more information. Ford of Tuscola. It's small town feels with great big deals.
Greetings, everybody, from Omaha, Nebraska. Tim Locum here, repping the Wisconsin gear and also the Behind the Mic gear. Just want to say a shout out to Keith and Sam and the Behind the Mic Show for getting ready to do their 50th episode. Congratulations, guys. Keep up the good work. I promise when you get to 100, I may even shower and shave for you. Congrats, guys.
Back here on the Behind the Mic show, Keith Gibson, Sam Irwin. And we want to thank those guys for sending out some well wishes. Clay Reagan, Tim Locum. Great guys, great listeners. Of course, Tim's been on the show. Clay listens to us all the time, so we appreciate those guys and their support through the first 50.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, how about that? Some listener interaction feedback. But yeah, those are two good dudes for sure. One, was extremely athletic and a record setter, and the other is Clay Reagan. So it's nice to have them both to do that. Hi, Clay. So thanks for that. But yeah, that's awesome of them. Very cool. So yeah. So let's see. We're still waiting on
Mr. Howard. Yep.
Should be any moment, I would think. But what else is going on until we get Dana Howard?
Well,
on
let's
here,
talk.
Keith
Let's talk about a little bit of stuff. Our miscellaneous sports stuff we can talk about. It came out yesterday, Sam, that Louisville Slugger has closed its doors, not for good. But you're talking about a bat company that produces baseball equipment since 1800s, closing its doors, furloughing their employees. It's scary. That's one of the scary things right now with no sports going on. You have a company like that that's been around for that long, and now they're just closing doors. Right.
Well, the uncertainty, and like you said, if they aren't playing baseball, then they don't need bats. So what do? It's a spooky time, a lot of uncertainty. Hopefully things can get back to normal, and get everyone, because there's so many businesses that have closed down, or so many, and look at the unemployment rate right now. And I forget how many, I read that about Louisville Slugger, and it was anywhere from 130 to 170 workers or something like that laid off. I worry about, our friend at Dinger Bats and his company right now, what's going on there. So hopefully, things can get back. But once again, the fear is, Keith Gibson, is we don't want history to repeat itself.
Right.
And there was a thing called the Spanish flu back in the early 1900s that, people got through the first wave and thought it was good and went back early. And then here comes the second wave. And then there was a third wave. So it's like, I get it with the economy and people out of work, and it's a tough time. But at the same time, do you err on the side of caution? But how long can you do that if you're a company? Even as something like if Louisville Slugger can, possibly go out of business or lay people off, man, what's that mean for other companies?
That's exactly right. I mean, not just in the sports world, but everywhere. It's kind of something that made me stop and think. I'm like, holy crap, that's big,
Yeah. Kind of spooky for sure.
So my question for you, Sam, is baseball has got to come back eventually, right?
Right.
But how? That's my thing that I keep running through. I miss baseball more than anything right now, just because I'm a diehard Cub fan and I love baseball. But how do you come back and still stay safe? That's my one thing I'm worried about. You got 25 guys on a roster. They're traveling together all the time. There's proposals to do it in 3 different ballparks and 3 different states but it doesn't make sense to me. Of course, you can't let fans in, but how long? And my wife and I were talking about this a little bit last night. We were talking about concerts and things like that going on this summer. How long will it go? She said, well, will the NFL, start? And I said, well, that's August, September. She said, but how long do you wait? And that's a great question. How long do you wait for all this to go away until you can start everything back up?
Right. And without a cure or any type of real treatments, can you really go back and subject people to these things? That's the spooky thing is, okay, I mean, I don't know. And they talked about Arizona, Texas, maybe Florida.
Parts of Florida, because the Florida governor, who's fantastic, we won't
he can't even put a mask on, right?
We won't even get into that. But
wow.
But there's parts of Florida that I guess would be okay. But now they're saying that they won't hold events. Of course, he made WWE a essential business in Florida.
Right.
Right. So could he make Major League Baseball an essential business in Florida? You would think.
Well, my thought is this: is if you can do, okay, let's say you have it at Arlington Stadium in Texas, right? Something like that. But you're talking about if you're only going to do 2 or 3 states, that's a lot of ball clubs in these locations. Now, maybe there's other stadiums. It isn't like you need a big stadium. You don't have any fans, so you just play at whatever regulation size field would be. So it doesn't have to be necessarily in the Arlington ballpark. But you got to keep those players quarantined at all times. You got to test them daily. I don't know if we've got enough test kits to do such things to keep them safe. I mean, there are just so many factors in play here. And do you endanger these athletes or the coaching staff or the staff that it takes to run a team? I mean, the managers, the equipment people. I mean, there's so many things involved of what do you do and still keep it safe? I'm not sure what the answer is. I just don't know.
Well, in Arizona, the first proposal I saw was to do Grapefruit League and then Florida, or the Grapefruit and Arizona leagues, do both of them, Cactus League and the Grapefruit League, excuse me. And I thought that would be pretty cool, actually, because then you could end up with a Cubs-Cardinals World Series if you wanted to.
Right. Yeah.
But and you have enough smaller stadiums in Arizona. I've never been to Florida spring training. I've been lucky enough to go to Arizona. But you have enough small stadiums down there where you can make it work.
Right.
But it's just the fact of having all these guys together.
Yeah, I don't know what the answer is. And I mean, like the NBA tried to do like a horse contest.
Yeah, that didn't work.
Does baseball do it didn't work. That was terrible. Does baseball do maybe some home run derby stuff where you just got a pitcher and a guy just hitting bombs, just for something to do to entertain us? I don't know. It's not the same without the fans. As we've seen with wrestling, it's not the same without the fans.
No, it's not.
Baseball,
have you watched wrestling lately?
Except for Wednesday nights. No, it's just they're trying, bless their hearts, but it's pretty boring. So what do you do? I mean, it's tough because these people, we need entertained, and these players, want to play and the owners want to make money. But at the same time, how do you do it without endangering the players? They're going to have to do something here for too long. In fact, I heard on the Levitard show, which I watch or listen to every day, they talked about with the NBA doing it at Disney World because they have the arena there that they could play at.
Right, the
they
worldwide
have the TV
sports.
ESPN already is part of Disney anyway. So you could do all that, and the players play without a crowd once again. But the players could play in there, keep them quarantined. They've got hotels, obviously, in Disneyland, Disney World, whatever.
The resorts, right.
Yeah, West Coast could play in California. East Coast could play in Florida, and you could have those games. But once again, without a known cure, without enough testing, it's like, man, I don't know. Because there are people. That's the thing is, there's people walking around with this. They don't even know they have it. Is the thing, because obviously people react to things differently. So,
right.
So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. It's tough. So
it's very.
I know
tough.
I need it. So yeah.
No, you and me both. I need some.
Yeah.
I mean, I've enjoyed. Now I have enjoyed watching some of the older stuff on TV. Some of the Chicago Sports Network (CSN) has shown some of the old Bulls games, which has been fun to watch.
Right.
Believe it or not, I don't have any Cubs network because the Marquee will not make a deal with YouTube TV or anybody around here, so I can't watch any Cubs games.
Right.
Luckily, MLB Network had the area had a no-hitter on, but when you got a 4-year-old running around, I can't really watch it today either. But my point is, I've actually watched Cardinal games just to have baseball. Just to get some
you are hurting then, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
You really are.
I
wow.
am. But I did it. I did it because it was baseball, and so. But I've enjoyed some of the college games, the NBA and NFL. But yeah, we're missing.
Well, and
that.
hasn't NASCAR? Of course, they had that driver get in trouble for dropping the N-bomb during one of his races. But
and I'm proud of you for not doing that yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. But I wonder if baseball with like MLB The Show. Get all those players, if they could get it set up to where you could have 9 players. I don't know if it's even possible, but at least have one player going up against another and
doing
play
that now.
A virtual game. Are they doing that now?
They're doing it, yeah. One player from each team is doing it. I saw Carlos Santana, the Indians, was a record of 3-18 through the first 21 games.
Ooh, rough start.
That's my record on Tiger Woods against you. You win every 6 rounds.
You're pretty generous. You're being pretty generous with yourself with those 3 wins, aren't you?
Right. Sometimes I come through in the clutch.
Speaking of which, in the clutch, known for your pressure pack, as we continue to wait on Dana, I hope he gets with us soon. Not sure if you've heard from him yet or anything.
I have not.
Okay, well, we'll continue to wait a little bit. But something arose on Facebook in the Behind the Mic Show chat. If you came up with an idea which worked beautifully of getting donations for, I believe it not the food pantry in Florida, Illinois?
The Clay County Ministerial Alliance Food Pantry.
Right.
Because apparently people don't think I can shoot a basketball, Sam, are we?
I guess so, yeah. You said that you could make, what was your take on this? Well, how many, out of 25 shots from, now high school distance, correct? Not NBA, high school.
Correct.
High school 3-point shot. You said out of 25, what do you say you can make?
Oh, 15.
15. Okay. So, and that puts you up there with some of the greats.
Larry Bird.
For sure.
Craig Hodges.
So you said, and first it was just, obviously you got tired of people talking smack. So you put it out as a challenge to people to donate. And if you got to the goal of which you said, I believe it was $500,
right,
to get to that goal, then you would go live, in which we will do this on Facebook Live, because people came up with $500 in a matter of about 23 seconds.
Yeah, it did.
So,
it took a lot shorter time period than I thought it would.
It really did. So hey, that's great. The food page is going to get $500, and we will get some great entertainment when a gym can get set up. I believe you said before we came on the show that Superintendent Hackney has approved you to use Conley Gym whenever things get back to normal, which could be who knows when, but we'll make it happen. And we will do that on Facebook Live. There's been a lot of betting, a lot of side bets going on in the over.
I noticed that. The over-under 5.5. 5.5?
Yeah, I took the under. Yeah, as many people did. In fact, my donation is going to be based on the number of shots you make. So I didn't give a flat donation. It's going to be $10 a ball on what you make. So if you make 15, I will gladly write a check for $150 to the food pantry floor. Gladly. If it's 2 is what I'm predicting, I will give them $20. So it's up to you. No pressure. Lisa Herman.
2 out of 25?
Yeah. I have seen you shoot. Now, when you're hot, when you get on.
There you go.
Dude. However, in a set shot with cameras, this ain't max class, baby. This isn't the Oakwood small gym at the junior high where you played before. This is set shots off a rack, which you haven't done before in your life. This isn't like playing a game.
Right
totally
here,
different.
just keep the elbow in, baby. It's
rhythm. Yours is more like reaching up here to the top layer of the rack. Yeah, but and with the time now, we also said usually during this time of a 3-point contest, it's a time limit, 45 seconds, a minute, something like that. We talked about the issue with that is to get up 25 shots in 45 seconds. It's not possible. The stamina's not there. Bless your heart. A lot of people couldn't do that. I don't think you make it to rack 2, maybe 3. But
in 45 seconds?
Yeah, because you got to stop and
well, maybe a little bit of that. I might get to rack 3. I don't know if I'd get through rack 3. Let's be honest.
Not without a rolling gurney. But anyway, you said more like 2 minutes. So
I think that's reasonable.
I think that's right. It gives you a little break, catch your breath. Plus, I think there's only a couple racks at the high school, so we would have to fill the racks back up. We'll get some, maybe some football players there, something like I said, when things get back normal, where they can load the racks up again quick.
Right.
Maybe give you a break. That's reasonable. Yeah, reasonable. But Lisa Herman, who avidly watches the show, she's also doing that based on per ball, I believe. Travis Cooper's donating $15 a ball that you make, because there is no faith in your shooting ability. Like I said, if you get hot, watch out. Because you can shoot when it happens, because a blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then. It happens. But if you go cold in that first or second rack, I've predicted this, you will fake an injury.
No.
You will.
I will finish. I will finish because I think I feel disrespected that people don't think I can get 5. That's 20%, people.
Now tell us of your basketball accomplishments through your life in school, just so we can kind of gauge. Besides max class, what other organized basketball have you played?
6th grade.
Okay. And how did that go?
I was on the B team.
Okay. Well, that's not bad. It's better to see.
Yeah.
Better to see. Yeah. Now, was there a C team?
No.
Okay. All right. Go on.
I was down towards the end of the bench on the B team.
Okay.
But I came along later in life, Sam Irwin.
That's true. You were a late bloomer.
Right. I came on. I was part of the Conley Crazies. I was there every week. I watched people shoot all day long.
That's true. Right. I
took max class 9 times.
Get that 1 hour credit, baby. Over and over.
I think after the 3rd one, they just quit. Just said, "Here, you're done."
And people, as people are watching and following along, we also need to have maybe the Clay County Health Department or some type of ambulance there for the Clay County Hospital, just in case. Better safe than sorry. Have them standing by, with paddles and everything that they might need. Safety first, I think, is a good idea.
Well, I'm pretty sure the high school has AED.
We'll check in.
I won't need it. Here's my thing, man, with this. We're raising money for a good cause, number 1.
Right.
Number 2, I love the fact that I'm getting doubted by so many people.
Oh, yeah. No faith.
None. And the fact that I get to do it live, and then after I make 5 and go over, I'm just going to leave my hand up and tell everybody I'm going Sizzler.
Absolutely. And you can put that right in my face, talk smack, do it, because you've earned it by that point. You really have.
So after the first rack, after I run that rack,
right,
and then I hit the first one on the second rack, then it's over.
It's over. Oh yeah. I mean, you make 15 in the first 3. Good Lord, you might set a record.
If I do that, it's been edited.
Yes. That's why we're going live on Facebook.
That's right.
And by the way, during Facebook Live, the commentators for that event will be me and maybe Larry McGrew if we can get him to do it.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Something like that. Maybe. Oh yeah. I mean, I know it's only, but we could have maybe like a pregame of it with an interview of you to get you ready. Then the event, and then we need to talk to you afterwards after you've had time to catch your breath. And talk about either your success or utter failure. So,
if I tell you what, here's what else I'll throw out. If I don't make 5, Sam Irwin, if I don't go over the over-under line of 5.5, I'll never touch a basketball again.
That benefits people. That's nothing. I mean, you haven't shot a basketball in what? The last time you shot a basketball was when I was up in Champaign.
That's true. And we went play
the YMCA. Yeah, you haven't played since. But I do think there needs to be something that we get from this if you do the under. So you're very confident in the over.
Oh, all day long.
So if you do the under, which I will still make a donation to the Florida Food Pantry, irregardless. So, we'll go from there, and I hope others will too, because that's a great cause. There's people in need. But in saying that, if you go under, there needs to be some kind of penalty for you that we can all enjoy.
Well, they could see me every week. That's what you get enjoyment out of.
No. There needs to be some kind of punishment for you.
Well, I tell you what, why don't we just give it to our viewers and fans?
Absolutely. Come up with ideas. Let us,
Because I'm confident enough that you come up with whatever you want. It's not going to happen, people.
Yep, that's right.
I'm going Sizzler.
Now, I will.
You know how long it's since I've had a steak?
Yeah, but oh boy, I don't know, what time is it? But I will say this: in the many times I've been around you, whether we've played sports or Tiger Woods golf or whatever, even when you start out well, that pressure, boy, it starts to get to you, and boy, it gets tight. So I say this: when you hit 1, 2, you start to feel pretty good. Then I've noticed with you, just like in Tiger Woods golf, you get a little cocky, like I got this, and then you start to miss a couple, and then boy, ooh,
I won't get that way until after I hit 6. Once I get past 6, then it's smooth sailing.
Oh, you're great, but once you get to 4, that goal is going to be about as big around as your butthole. So I don't know if that 5th one's going.
Well, it'll be fun though. No matter what happens, it'll be fun for a good cause as well. So looking forward to that. And so we'll get that taken care of as soon as we can get everything lifted and and
there it is. There's a great idea. As I watch people at the feedback, great idea. Colin Dickey said
never. I will never do that.
What?
Never. No.
He said that you need to wear a Cardinals jersey to a Cubs game.
I wouldn't do that. I'll burn it.
What about your confidence that you'll easily?
No, I don't care whether I hit all 25. You're not getting a Cardinals jersey on this back ever. Ever. Especially in a Cubs game.
Right. Right. So anyway, well,
we'll take a quick break here, come back and come back and we'll talk NFL draft here on the Behind the Mic show.
This is Downtown Bosco, the world heavyweight champion from his home in Flora, Illinois. There's one thing I want to mention today and hope everybody can listen. I want to congratulate Sam and Keith on their 50th Behind the Mic show. It's going to be awesome, and I hope everybody tunes in. All you Downtown Bosco maniacs, get with me to watch the show.
Morgan's Place Canine Salon has been offering exclusive one-on-one grooming services in the Champaign area for over 12 years, using all natural products, giving lots of love to your dog. Visit www.morgansplace.me to learn more. Morgan's Place, making dogs beautiful.
Hey, I just want to congratulate two good friends, Keith and Sam. Congratulations on reaching the big 5-0. And I've had a lot of fun listening to you guys over the course of this past year. I want to thank you for all the recognition that you've given Florida athletics and our athletes here. And thank you even more for all the great stuff you guys do for all the communities that you represent, the money that you raise and everything. Congratulations, guys. Here's to 50 more, and go Cowboys.
Back here on the Behind the Mic Show from the Cheap Seat Sports Bar and Grill, live on Facebook, our 50th episode of the Behind the Mic Show. And thanks to Downtown Bosco, the world heavyweight champion. And if you don't know he's the world heavyweight champion, just ask him, he'll tell you. And then Coach Tackett, who we've had on many shows. Both of them actually been on our shows. So we appreciate both of them and coming on and wishing us happy 50th. And I still can't believe, Sam, that we made it to 50 shows.
I can't either, and a lot of that is thanks to the people that continue to watch and support us. And of course, our awesome sponsors that make it possible for us to do it. So yeah, it's just a cool thing. Like I've always said, hey, it's something fun that we do and it gives us a chance to stay in touch. So yeah, very cool. But it is also shocking that it still exists. But hey, when it doesn't cost you much to do it, you keep going as long as people are watching. So,
that's right.
Yeah,
we do appreciate Ford of Tuscola, who's been here with us since day one as our presenting sponsor. Those guys down there are doing great. In fact, old Chet, Doug, picked my truck up the other day and got my oil changed, and tire rotated, and yeah, it was good to go. And they I tell you what, they're selling cars left and right, even through all this.
Well, that's because they're phenomenal. The way they treat people, they go above and beyond. I mean, they always have. They treated me right. Old Chet is really good at what he does. So I mean, it's if you need a car or a truck.
That's right.
No, I mean, that's where you go.
Numbers right at the top of the screen.
And with that stimulus check you got in, what a great down payment on a brand new Ford vehicle. Win-win.
Right. The more you put down, the less you have to finance, the more you save in interest. Unless you trade when you want to when the bank tells you to. I haven't said that line in a long time.
Do you miss the car business, Keith Gibson?
Aspects of it. I do.
Mm-hmm.
I miss doing the videos and meeting the customers and things like that, but I don't miss the long hours, the grind. I really don't. I enjoy being home with my family, and that's more important to me than anything. But Sammy, it is another big week. It's NFL Draft Week, and having fun with this. And I think should we let as you like to say, and I remember from our wrestling videos, the cat out of the bag. Should we let the cat out of the bag?
Yes, absolutely. Do you want to announce it, or do you want me to?
Thursday night. We both
Thursday
night.
Okay. Thursday
starts
night.
the NFL Draft.
Starts the NFL Draft.
Now, if you get sick of listening to Mel Kiper,
yep, and all those other guys, they're never right, Keith Gibson. They just blab with their predictions. They're never right. So,
and you want to have fun?
Yep.
You can tune in right here Thursday night, 7 o'clock. We are going to do the first round with the Behind the Mic Show of the NFL Draft. We're going to give you our opinions.
Absolutely. And this is total interaction with everybody that wants to tune as well. So our suggestion is, if you get tired of Mel Kiper, if you get tired of all those talking heads and they repeat themselves over and over, mute it. Be watching in the background. Have us on. Interact with us. We can talk about picks.
Come on. If anybody wants to come on.
Who you think they should pick. Should Tua go to the Dolphins? Should the Dolphins make a trade and get him early? There's so many things we could talk about. We could talk if it was a good pick, bad pick. And plus, you know what, Keith Gibson? That's literally the only thing on.
That's exactly
right. Nothing else to do. So we're going to do a live show. We want everybody to be a part of it. Join us. It'll be fun, something to do.
And if you want, if somebody wants to come on the show while we're broadcasting, we'll send you the Zoom invite. Come on and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, and now just a heads up, we got a lot of Bears fans out there. Once again, they do not have a first-round pick, thanks to the awesome work of the front office on the Mitchell Trubisky deal. So maybe they'll trade up. I'm not sure if they got anything to trade, but there will not be a lot of Bears talk on Thursday night, which we can still talk about the Bears, I guess, and what they truly need besides a quarterback. But I don't know if that could be – there's other quarterbacks, so But yeah, so I think it'd be fun. It'll be something to do. We're all going to be watching the draft anyway, so why not watch it as a group, have a big watch party, have fun with it. So yeah, join us. We'd love to hear your feedback. It's always fun when you got about like that Tiger King thing we did. God, that was fun. So we hope to have people doing that, and I think it'd be pretty cool. So
yeah, it'll be fun. But let's talk NFL draft, Sam Irwin.
Let's do it.
Okay, Joe Burrow.
Yeah,
I think consensus number one overall pick to the Bengals. Right. My question to you. And I think we'll disagree with this. Is he a true number one overall pick?
I say, I've said this since we've been on this show, and even before we had the show, we always talked about it. I rarely would ever pick a quarterback in the first round, just because there's such a leap from college to pro, and, unless you are desperate, you have to have, because there's very few that are no doubters, like an Andrew Luck, like a Peyton Manning. People like that are true no doubters, because there's so many misses, as you know, on quarterbacks. Yes.
As in Jamarcus Russell. Would that be a miss?
That would be a miss, yes.
Okay.
Perhaps the biggest number one bust of all time, Jamarcus Russell, right. And a lot of times it could be the situation they're coming. I mean, there's so many factors in play, but some of these guys just aren't ready. And there's such a big difference between college and pro. This we know. But if I'm the Bengals, and now here's the thing. When you're the number one pick, you're going to a terrible team anyway. This we know. The Bengals need a lot more than a quarterback, but you got to start somewhere. Andy Dalton's not the answer, but I think, and here's why I say this too, that Burrow is, if I'm the Bengals, I do pick Burrow number one, is because I watched him live his junior year when he played for LSU at Florida. Yes.
I think we have Dana who's coming in now for us. So let's welcome Mr. Howard into the show. What do you say, Sammy?
Let's do that. Yes.
Mr. Howard, are you there, sir?
Oh. There's a mute button at the top if you're talking.
I think he's connected here.
Is he? Okay.
Yep. Mr. Howard, are you there, sir? We'll get back to our NFL draft coverage here in just a few minutes. Mr. Howard, are you with us?
Oh,
there he is. Mr. Howard, how are you?
All right, what's up? All right. Oh, he can't hear us. Okay, there's an audio button if you see at the top, or a mute button. Like if you click on it.
There we go.
There he is. All right.
My bad, man. We out here walking.
You're all right.
Okay.
You're all right,
Hey,
Mr.
no
Howard.
problem.
How are you?
I'm good. It's Dana, though. You can call me Dana.
All right, Dana, we
Okay.
can do that.
Right.
Not a problem. Hey, always with respect. You know, when we talked about a Buckus Award winner and a Lambert Award winner and a All-American, how are things for you?
So far, so good. I can't complain. Just, trying to stay alive. One.
I hear you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you keeping your 6 feet of distance while you're out there walking around the park?
Yeah, I got y'all next to me. I know we live together now, but she can.
That's all right. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah.
We won't
thanks
take,
for joining us.
Yeah, we won't take much of your time, Dana, tonight. We just want to talk to you a little bit, and we appreciate you coming on the show. And let's just talk about kind of where it started. I read a little bit about you doing some background work, and Seymour, that's kind of crazy for me. But
I know.
Dana,
Yeah.
you got cut by your junior high coach. Is that something that fueled you going into high school?
Yeah, it did. Because, my brother was he better than me. So he ended up, he was kind of my motivating factor. And he walked me back up to the school and got me on the team.
Ah, very nice. Very nice. So that it all worked out because obviously you played for East St. Louis, the Flyers, which has a rich tradition of football talent, just state title after state title, and so much talent has come out of there. So whenever you were getting, did you have a lot of offers coming out of high school? Because you were obviously a great player for them with a state title. Did you have a lot of big-time offers, or was Illinois your biggest? How did you choose?
No, I could have named the school I wanted to go to. My brother went to the University of Miami, so that's why I thought I was going. But he got into a little trouble and got kicked out. So it was almost like risky business. Well, so,
right.
So that's how it happened.
So you redshirted your first year at the U of I. Come in and set a Big Ten conference record your freshman year with 134 tackles, Dana, and just were a beast, if you will, your freshman year, and just continue to be one. One of the things I wanted to ask you is you had some great teammates. So was that a something that you found yourself just right place, right time, or is it something that you had great teammates who you worked with so well on the defensive side?
Well, I think we gelled. We were just a bunch of guys. Well, I was basically the biggest name guy that was there, and I wasn't used to losing. So what I did was I just pulled them alongside. I was like, hey, I ain't used to this shit. We got to get it together. So all of them had the talent, but I don't think they knew how to win. And so I just came in like I'm not about to lose. And so from there, my guys, we all just did it together.
And in that first year, you had against Ohio State, so against the best of the best in the Big Ten, you had 20 solo tackles in a game against Ohio State, and then 23 total tackles against Michigan. So how do you go from now? Granted, you had a redshirt year to kind of help. Did that redshirt year really prepare you? Because if you'd have went in as just a freshman straight out of high school, do you think you would have had the success? Were you really thankful for that redshirt year?
I was very thankful because not only did it help me athletically, it helped me because I was able to get acclimated to the university, find my way around, know how to handle my classes, and the whole nine. So when I did that, when I redshirted, that was the best thing. I hated it when I did it, but looking back, it's the best thing ever. So a lot of these kids, they're wasting their first year when they say, "Oh, I want to play. I want to come in playing." Well, you're not strong enough. You might be fast enough, but mentally the game is much faster than what you do in high school, because high school, you're the best of the best athlete there. Got a lot of guys like you and the guys who move a little something extra that stands out because everybody's fast, everybody's strong, everybody's big. Just have to have more of a desire to want to win, to want to do better, I should say.
So what did you sorry, Keith. Your senior year and basically going into your freshman year at U of I, what weight did you go in at that first year, and then what weight were you when you started playing as a redshirt freshman? How many pounds of muscle did you put on?
Man, when I got to college, I was 285 pounds. And
wow.
Yeah. Okay. And they told me that Coach Tupper told me you have to either you get down to 235 or you have your hand in the ground. So I got down to 230 something.
Oh, wow. I bet you noticed quite a difference in your speed, didn't you, when you lost 50 pounds like that?
I did, but being a young guy, you don't really. I mean, I was at home eating and doing whatever else high school senior would do. Hanging out. Right. So for me, it was one of those where I just, was enjoying myself. I didn't do much working out because, the mentality wasn't, I got to work out to be with these guys. I was just doing what I was doing.
All right.
Dana, would you say that the linebacking group that you played with Simeon Rice and Hardy and Holosack and you was the best ever to play as a linebacking group?
I would think so. Probably best in college football ever. It's just me. I haven't seen prior to us any group better.
I haven't either. That's why I wanted your opinion on that, because I thought I haven't seen a group of 4 linebackers come through any school as dominant as all 4 of you.
Yeah, I don't know of anybody else. I mean, now individually, there's Dick Buckus, there's Ray Nishke, there's the other guys, but to do what we've done collectively, I don't see that. To win 2 back-to-back Buckus Awards, to have 3 guys first team All-American, and have all 4 of us drafted, I don't see that.
And did it turn into between especially the linebacking group, was it almost like a competition every day at practice and at games to see who could get the most tackles and who could light up the most people? Was it almost like some type of competition you guys had behind the scenes?
Well, yeah. Well, not. I don't know if it was we just wanted to make sure every time we got out there at practice on 907 that we dominated, and there were no questions about it, and we did that. So it actually made our offense better because if they could do I guess run on us, then they should be able to run on anybody. I mean, right? Yeah. Just think if we would have had a D line with a couple of D linemen that were draftees. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Some guys who we had guys who were hard nosed. Chad Kofor. Chad Kofor was 6'7", 6'8", and probably weighed 245, 250. But you wouldn't have known it because Chad played as if he was a first day guy. You know what I mean? So just imagine if we would have had extra guys that were like, not saying Chad. I'd take Chad any day of the week. I'm just saying a couple linemen like Big Daddy Wilkerson, guys like that. I mean, we really would have been crazy. And we were pretty good with the guys we had. All these guys, Mickey Johnson, Eric Fogey, guys like that.
Let's talk about you got drafted 5th round. Was that something that you saw went a little later than you anticipated, or is it something you thought maybe you'd go a little earlier, coming off a Buckus Award?
I thought I'd be a first, second rounder. I ain't gonna lie to you. The Bears called and wanted to do a deal with with my stuff, my agent, and they were gonna pick me in the second round. But my agent was like, "Nah, they're gonna take you in the second. Somebody might take you in the first." And for some reason, I dropped. So it is what it is. It worked out, and hey, I can't complain.
What was it like leading up to that, though? What was the emotions? What was being draft week? You came on at a perfect time. Plus, it's our 50th episode of the show. But what were the emotions coming through that?
Being drafted in the 5th round, just being drafted, period.
Just being drafted, that whole process. Was it grueling for you?
Yeah, because you're expecting to get X or do Y, and all of a sudden you go from first, middle, late second to 5th round, and you're like, this dude went in front of me, this guy went in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
How the heck is that happening? And so it's so frustrating, and you got people over your house, and then so everybody's asking you, what happened? Why? I don't. If I had a freaking crystal ball, I could tell you, but I don't know.
Right. Well, and by looking at what you did, I mean, an incredible college career. You were the first player in Illinois history to have at least 100 tackles in all 4 seasons. Butkus Award winner, which means you're the best linebacker in the friggin' nation. All-American, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year in the Big Ten, 2-time first-team All-American. So, yeah, the frustration had to be incredible on draft day because you're the best linebacker there is. It doesn't make any sense of why, go to the 5th round like that. So,
right. So, you just take it all in stride and say, you know what, I guess I just have to prove myself again, which ain't a problem. I've been doing it all my life. So, go there and do what you can do. And unfortunately, it's right place, right time. I was in Dallas, had a great camp. And, for one reason or another, they released me. I go to St. Louis, play well. This is my second year. The D coordinator tells me, you're the best linebacker I got here in this group. But unfortunately, I can't put you in front of the starter because he's making $9 million a year. So
it's a business side, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's when you learn it ain't not about the best player. It's about not making ourselves look crazy. They bring a guy in making $9 million, and me, a guy who's making $250. I'll praise it.
Right.
So,
well, Dana, let me ask you this. I read a little bit about where they, of course, like you said, if you had a crystal ball, but they said maybe you dropped because of, in quotes, size concerns, because in college you were 6 foot, 238 pounds, which is a good sized man. But at that time in the early to mid 90s of NFL football, maybe linebackers were bigger because offenses were different. They ran the ball more. Do you think maybe that was part of it instead of, because like in today's NFL, if you'd be drafted, I would think you'd be phenomenal at that size and the way you could cover and run, in a pass-happy league. Do you think if you were in today's NFL, it would be different?
Well, I mean, a lot of people say that Derek Brooks, I was taller than Derek Brooks. So, we were on all the All-American teams together. So he was 6 feet and 215 pounds. So, it's all in who looks for what. You know what I mean?
Right.
So he was in the cover 2 scheme, so he could run. So he was basically a strong safety, a free safety. But he played linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, man. Different people look for different things, and that's just how the game is. It's a copycat league, They see one guy doing something.
Yeah.
They see one guy doing something, and then everybody try to get the next guy who did what the greatest guy did that year, So it's copycat league.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Well, Dana, in terms of Illinois, obviously, you had a great career there. You probably still have a lot of ties there. Are you happy with the direction the University of Illinois football program is going, or would you like to see something different? And what would that be? Do you think maybe you could help contribute to that? Have you ever been asked?
Well, I mean, I have been. I mean, I get asked to help recruit, which I don't mind doing that at all. And I think it's going well. I think Lovey has done a good job. It's sometimes it's just hard when when the cupboard's bare and you get a bunch of young guys coming in who are young and they think that they're ready, but they're not. And then you're playing in the league with guys who are first round, second round, third rounders, and draftable guys throughout the league. And then you get a young guy from high school with all the confidence in the world to get downfield and gets blasted. And everybody knows to be an all-star. That's your question. I think the program is going in a good direction. I would love this year. Hopefully the better bowl game. And then hopefully, recruit more guys. St. Louis, they think the grass is green, and so they usually do
Uh-oh. There he is.
But you go to the Alabama, the Ole Miss, Texas A&M, and now you just, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Dana, we don't want to take up much of your time this evening. I know you're with family. Congratulations. We talked a little bit beforehand. Your daughter's going to Illinois, too. It's got to be a proud father moment.
Yeah, that's cool. So she's right here. So she's, hi. So, yeah, so.
Congrats.
She's gonna,
Thank you.
so she's going to play softball, and we'll see how they go. I mean, Tyler Light's offered a scholarship. UCLA offered a scholarship. Well, yeah, so, obviously, I'd rather her be close than way out in West Coast, where it's going to cost me an arm and a leg to see her.
All right.
Now, is she the one that got the package from the College Football Hall of Fame when your football came?
Yeah, it was her.
Yeah. So for people who don't know, could you kind of just abbreviate that little story there and how you found out?
Well, I didn't know that I was doing college football until the College Football Hall of Fame. So we were in transition from the rental home that we were renting until our house was built. And so, the box came, we threw it in with the rest of the stuff and moved on to the new house. And stop, boy. And as we were doing that, she grabbed a box with a ball in it and was, about to throw it around. I'm like, what is that? So it's a ball, I'm just going to throw it around. I said, what does it say? She said, College Football Hall of Fame. I'm like, what? I had no clue that I had. And so that's how I found out I made a College Football Hall of Fame. So we all gathered in the kitchen. We were just hanging out. All of us gathered in the kitchen. And we were all excited. Then somebody read the last page and said, please don't disclose until January the 6th. At that time, it was December the 15th. So we had already told it.
Oh, man. Yeah.
So, we were excited. So we were just letting everybody know. And all of a sudden, like, oh, man, we messed up.
It's all right. We've all done it. We've all done it. But Dana, we appreciate you coming on the show tonight. We do. And we'd like to get you a hat and a T-shirt, and that way, because you have your own construction business. So I hope that's going well for you as this time as well. So everything's going good for you. Sounds like.
I'm trying. It could always be better, but I ain't complaining.
Good. That's good.
Very nice.
Well, we appreciate it, Dana, and best of luck to you moving forward with everything. And if you ever have any need for us or want somebody to come on from the recruiting side, we're happy to take them. We'll talk to them.
Yeah.
We'll tell them good things.
Okay. Cool.
Thanks, Dana.
Dana, thank you very much. Have a good night and take care of that fam.
All right, take it easy.
All right, thanks. Dana Howard, Illini legend, Buckus Award winner, and College Football Hall of Famer, joining the Behind the Mic show. We'll take a quick break, come back, and then talk some more NFL draft here on the Behind the Mic show from the Cheap Seats Sports Bar and Grill.
One tree or a dozen, large estate or small corner lot, whatever you call home. When you have trees that need professional care, that means calling Beast Trees. Greg Miller, owner and operator of Beast Trees, is an ISA certified arborist. Beast Trees offers tree removal, trimming, and free estimates. They're fully licensed and fully insured. Call Beast Trees today to find out how they can keep your trees healthy and thriving. Call 260-4551 to schedule an appointment with Bees Trees.
Back here on the Behind the Mic show, thank you to Dana Howard for joining us, Illini legend, on our 50th episode of the Behind the Mic show, and we could be more thankful for him. We do appreciate him coming in, and even on a walk, he was able to take some time with us tonight, Sammy. Great interview, great insight from him, and we really do appreciate it. But let's talk.
Yeah, wow. Not only to take the time, which was great. I know we had a little connection issue as he's walking around, out in the park somewhere, but overall it was good. Seemed like a great guy, and what a phenomenal player back in the 90s. But, also at this point, so I assume he's got to be in his 50s, right?
No, I think he's only 48.
48, so almost 50. A dude, just in talking to him, that I would not cross.
No.
Seems like he's a badass dude still. So,
Correct.
Yeah.
But
no, that
thankful.
was cool. That was cool. Pretty neat. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But let's get back to the NFL draft. Let's say, we were on the topic of talking, is Joe Burrow the number one overall pick? Is he a true number one? And you said before we brought Dana in, the fact that is he? I don't think so. So your point is he's not a Manning. He's not a.
Well, we got obviously things changed. What I was going to say was I actually watched him play live. The reason why I say that he is because of this. I watched him play live when he was with LSU, of course, his junior year at Florida. I was at that game, and he was not great. I thought, this guy left Ohio State, and this is the best they got. But then the jump of his ability from his junior year to that senior year that we just watched, I've never seen an improvement like that ever in terms of football for a quarterback. He was a completely different person. He had a great offensive coordinator. Yes, that helps, a change in that. But the confidence, the ability, he's one of the best quarterbacks I've seen in a long time. He never had a bad game this past year at all. There was never an up and down. Everything was constant, and he was the best player by far. The national championship game, he made Clemson look really, really bad really quickly, and other teams. He's just putting on a show and setting records. And, I think he's one of those that, yes, you definitely take a chance on. Now, is he going to need help? Of course, and in fact, I listened to the Le Batard show, which I always do. Peyton Manning had called him and gave him some advice and talked about, there's going to be a lot of ups and downs. This is a time to learn. He also said, I have the interception rookie record.
Right, and he said it's okay if he breaks it.
If you want to break that, that's fine. So, yes, it will take a while to find out if he really is, that good, and he's going to have to get some support around him to see. He's going to have to get a good line. He's going to have to get, quarterback's only as good as his team around him, so we shall see.
When Manning came into Indianapolis, there were at least some pieces there.
Right.
There's not much in Cincinnati, Sam.
There's not really, and that's the problem. And like I said, Cincinnati needs a lot of help. But you're not going anywhere with Andy Dalton, so a change has to be made. And now here's the thing, though: if you're the Bengals, and let's say, because it's still 2 nights before the draft, let's say, hang on, I got to take a swig of my fresh IPA from Stone Cold here, real quick.
Stone Cold.
But anyway, if you're the Bengals, and let's say somebody comes in with just because the Dolphins have a lot of picks. The Dolphins, in fact, have 3 first-round picks.
Right.
If you're the Bengals and you need a lot of help, if the Dolphins call and say, because the Dolphins pick at number 5, you can still get a quarterback there if you want, and then throughout the round. But if they say you can have all 3 of our first-round picks if you give us the number 1 pick, I'm not sure how you turn that down if you're Cincinnati. I don't think you can. That's a lot of picks. You can rebuild a team quickly with 3 first-round picks and fill a lot of holes.
You could, especially if one of them's 5.
That's exactly right.
Because you can still get a quarartave there and do that.
Yeah,
I don't think it's something that's been brought up. I think the Dolphins are looking at all scenarios. I know they've looked at Tua. I know that. But back to Burrow, I don't see him as a Manning or a type Andrew Luck type quarterback. I just don't. I think he's got good makeup. I think he can be a solid NFL quarterback. I just don't think he's a franchise quarterback yet.
Well, and the credit I give him, too, is he was prolific. Now, once again, they brought in a new offensive coordinator who's gone already from LSU. He got an NFL gig, I think, with the Panthers.
Right.
He's their offensive coordinator now. But he made LSU's offense the best that I've maybe ever seen. LSU's never had a great offense. It's always been defense and run the ball 40 times a game. That's just kind of their old school. And, Jamarcus Russell had a decent year, but not like this. So he made LSU a juggernaut of one of the best college teams I've ever seen in terms of college football. It really was. LSU's one of the best teams I've ever seen. So, and I hate LSU.
That's coming from a Florida fan.
That's right. But they were phenomenal. And a lot of it, great. It was a great team, of course, but Burrow was a main cog in that. And what I liked about Joe Burrow, too, if I'm an NFL team, is Keith Gibson, did you ever see him like this, way up high, then way down low? And all
No,
this?
he stayed pretty flat. He
Like
had his
whole
moments where he'd
time.
just go up and
Yeah.
But he was in a right system. That's what I'm worried about with him. Is he good enough to go into a different system and be successful?
Right.
I'm not sure that's the case. He's maybe one where you may have to build your system around him. And if you're the Bengals, that's what you do.
Right, absolutely. Well, and that's with any quarterback. You've got to get the tools around them to make them successful. Very few quarterbacks can get plucked out of college and thrown into somewhere, and all of a sudden we're successful. That rarely happens.
You look at Peyton Manning. He was 3-13 his first year in Indianapolis. Set the interception record. The next year, though, and he said Moore let him play all through the fourth quarter, and he learned how to win games in the fourth quarter. Right. Next year, they're 13-3.
Yeah, Troy Aikman won one game with the Dallas Cowboys in his rookie year.
He's still
awful. But then later on came Emmett, came Michael Irvin, came the defenders, and then they built that team. So with this Joe Burrow pick, we won't know if he's good or bad 3 or 4 years down the road if they build around him. It's going to take some time.
Let's talk. I just want your and we'll get more in depth on this on Thursday night. As we're going to bring you a draft show live to Facebook here at CheapSeatsBar.com Facebook page. You can mute Mel Kiper and come in and see Jerry Krause Jr.
That's right.
No, I'm kidding.
Can you scout talent like your father?
So here's my question for you then. Will Joe Burrow be more Andrew Luck, or will he be more Tim Couch?
I would say he would be more, well, and once again, this is like looking at a crystal ball, like Dana said. Who knows? We're all guessing here. I think he is more. I always thought Tim Couch was way overrated. When they picked it first, I'm like, really? But it is what it is. You take your chances, and I think Joe Burrow is more towards the Andrew Luck type. I think he played in the SEC, and obviously Tim Couch did too, but he played at Kentucky. They weren't a juggernaut back in the day in football, you know what I'm saying? So LSU, and he got NFL coaching. You got to think, from that offensive coordinator, that was an NFL-style offense too. So he's not coming into something new. So I think he will be prepared, but once again, he had a lot of talent around him at LSU. Does he have that same kind of – now, granted, NFL team's different than college, but does he have that kind of weapons? Will he have that at Cincinnati?
Here's my take on Joe Burrow. It's a weak draft class, and I think he's the best product there, and that's why he's going number one. I don't think he's an elite quarterback.
Right. Yeah, and it's a quarterback-driven league.
Right,
so,
and that's the only reason he's going number one.
Everybody's fishing for, that next superstar that can take us to the promised land, and you hope that's it. But a lot of times, as we know, there's a lot more misses than hits, especially in first-round quarterbacks. So let
me ask you this: what's the odds percentage before we go into Thursday night? The Bengals trade that pick.
Man, I'm going to say 0 to 5%, unless the mother lode comes to him. There's no way. Plus, he's from Ohio. That'll get interest in the team. A hometown boy, bringing him back, take us to the promised land. Now, there's also rumors out there.
Have you heard that one before? Guy from Ohio taking you to the promised land?
Yeah, I have. Yeah. A little different there. Yeah, but a little bit. But there's also rumors that Burrow might not sign. There's rumors out there that he has no interest in playing in Cincinnati, supposedly. Could he pull an Eli Manning and say, nope, trade me? So we shall see. You never know. So
before we move any farther about what we're going to do in these top five of the Dolphins and Lions, I just want to mention that they did a mock draft the other day and tried to run through because everything's going to be electronic, kind of like we're doing right here. And they said it screwed up, and the Bengals couldn't even take their pick. Sam Irwin, we are zooming right now. You and me. You and me right here.
Right.
Behind the Mike Show, 50th episode. You can't tell me you can't do this. Hey, here's my pick. How hard is it?
But you also have 30 NFL teams, and you're trying to organize that and get it going, and the TV involved. It's a little bit bigger production than what we're doing, I think. Yeah, a little bit. Not much, a little bit. Do they have graphics like I've got right here in the back? I doubt it. But
no, they probably do, actually.
Yeah, they might, yeah. But they did do a trial run, I heard, and it was a disaster the first couple picks. There were some problems. Coach is mad, but I think they got it figured out as it went longer. So they got it oil. But here's the kicker is you have more time in the first round between picks, okay? come the third round, you have a lot less time. They said there may be more problems with the Zoom app in the third round than there is in the first round. So that'll be fun to see as it goes along. So we'll see what happens.
So do the Dolphins, we won't go too much in depth here with the NFL draft since we're going to do a show on Thursday night. Do the Dolphins move up to take Tua, or how far does Tua fall?
Well, and that's the question of the deal, because like you said, in the mock drafts, they've got the Redskins at 2 taking Chase Young out of Ohio State. Great pick.
Well, why wouldn't you?
Well, exactly. Then they have Detroit, who Stafford, I guess they're going to stick with. Why, I don't know, but it is what it is. And they're going to take that Okudah out of Ohio State. Great.
I don't think so. Not so fast, my friend.
Well, yeah, we'll see. Do you think Detroit might take a quarterback?
No, I think Detroit trades out of 3.
Oh, and that could be too. That could be where the Dolphins move up. So, we will see. Then the Giants, who cares? And then we get to the Dolphins, and that's where it gets interesting, because there's rumors it could be Tua, could be Justin Herbert out of Oregon. Dolphins are going to take a quarterback. They have to. It's just a matter of who. There's rumors that they may not take Tua. They may take Herbert instead, because Herbert's 6'6", 230, the prototypical, all that. Tua
I like Herbert better than Tua anyway.
Well, Tua is 6 foot tall, 217 pounds. So he's a lot smaller. Now, I will say this. Tua is much more talented, but as we've talked, Tua is also fragile. So, and when you're going in the NFL, you got Dana Howard's running all over the place, lighting your ass up, and you're only 6 foot, 217 pounds. You've already been injury prone. Man, I can't imagine, even though he's very talented, but I can't imagine. And he's still pretty new off of those surgeries he got. So
right.
There's that too.
Let's talk about the Bears' first round pick. No.
What's that?
I said, let's talk about the Bears' first round pick.
You heard my part.
Yeah.
They don't have one again. So, yeah, once again, they don't have one.
No.
So,
but no, it should be a fun draft. We're looking forward to, having some fun with the draft, because sometimes it gets boring listening to Mel Kiper talk about this guy from Western Kansas College of Pharmacy lineman.
That's right.
But
absolutely.
No, I think it'll be a good time. It'll be fun Thursday night, and it'll be something different that we've done, and so we're looking forward. I'll tell you what, Sammy, but we're talking about the NFL draft. We're talking about the NFL. We can't go on without talking about the big trade of the day.
Out of nowhere, coming out of retirement, apparently, the current WWE 24/7 champion,
right?
Rob Gronkowski, who just hosted WrestleMania for whatever reason, but has been traded. I thought he retired, but now he's being traded because I guess there's still some time left on his contract. I don't know how that worked. But anyway, traded to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to reunite with Tommy Brady so he could be his security blanket again, which makes, if I'm Tom Brady, bring him in if you can. Why not? He knows me. He knows, we know what each other's thinking. But not only did they get Gronkowski, but they also got a 7th-round pick from the Patriots, and the Patriots in return got a 4th-round pick. So apparently all these guys now, Keith Gibson, big trade right before the draft, gives Tommy a little extra, even though he's got O.J. Howard.
Tommy like wingy.
Tommy likes his tight ends too, so I can't blame him. Once again, he doesn't have to teach him anything. He knows what Tom's thinking.
Right.
He knows what routes to run. But what is going on in New England?
Everybody wants out.
Everybody wants out. So apparently winning doesn't cure all, does it, Keith Gibson? Apparently these guys have had enough. Of course, they've got what? 5, 6 rings,
right?
So I mean, at some point, you get tired of playing in the cold. Number one, Tampa's really nice, we know that, and you don't have to play in the cold weather too much. And it's also maybe a little more relaxed down there instead of militaristic. Apparently, maybe that's why he never, the head coach of the New England Patriots never smiles. But I found that interesting. What were your thoughts on that trade?
Surprised, number one. I didn't see it until Ryan Martin posted it in the Facebook group. I didn't know anything about it, and then you sent me the message like instantly right after that. I'm like, wait a minute here. Didn't Gronk retire?
Yeah.
I mean, he's the current WWE 24/7 champion.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Can he do both? Which would be awesome, by the way, if he could. And somebody
that would be awesome. Yes, it would. Yes, it would. What if a wrestler pinned him on the sidelines in an NFL game?
That'd be fantastic.
How great would that be?
But if he's got the passion and still got the contract there, and they can trade. But if you're going to trade one of the greatest tight ends ever, and you're just going to get a 4th-round pick out of it, and you're going to give up a 7th along with him and get a 4th-round pick back. So either A, they don't think very highly of Gronk, or B, it's a cap issue. I'm not sure which. But I was really, really shocked that they gave up that little, or got back that little for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to take your chances with Gronk. I mean, I think he's lost quite a bit of weight. Hopefully, in this time that he's had off, he's healed up, from his injuries. He looks a lot smaller. I think he's got to put on some weight to get back to his dominance.
But does he have to? Maybe he's leaner, slimmer. Maybe that helps him.
Maybe he won't be blocking as much as he used to. Maybe he's more of kind of a bigger wide receiver, as they do at tight ends now. They kind of flex him out. So maybe there's not as much, not that he was ever, the normal tight end anyway, but still, I'm sure they've got a plan in place. And I think they've got a great head coach as well. And Tampa Bay is starting to load up. I don't think this is the last expatriate you will see join this team. So I think and you got to be in win mode now. You got Brady for a year, maybe 2 tops.
Right.
So,
right.
Why not?
Speaking of the New England Patriots, so Sammy, it's time for Bees Trees Trivia, Sam Irwin. And why is it a perfect time to get a hold of Greg Miller at Bees Trees?
Well, now as the weather starts to turn and it's beautiful, it's really starting to, the springtime is there. Trees are budded out. The daffodils are growing. And as we talked about, the birds and the bees are out there, Keith Gibson. Love is in the air. And a lot of people are bored right now. So if you're striking out, maybe it's because, your bushes aren't trimmed and your deck's not looking good. You get those bushes trimmed, your deck looks bigger, it's shiny. Maybe get you a love interest.
Right.
So it's a win-win. You got to make it look good.
Tell you what.
And that's the guy to call.
Tell you what, I call Greg Miller. Need some trees trimmed, some bushes trimmed. Maybe even a bush taken out. I don't know, but we can make my deck look bigger when I get going. So whatever works. But why don't you give our loyal listeners the Bees Trees Trivia question of the week?
I will, and we hope we get some feedback here. And, this might be a hint, of things to come. But in the history of the New England Patriots, since we were just talking about them, which player on the New England Patriots has the highest winning percentage of all time not only in New England history, but I think in the entire NFL history?
Yes, and if you can figure that out.
Minimum 200 games played.
Yes.
Minimum 200 games played. Who has the highest winning percentage of any NFL player ever?
And if you can figure that out and give us an answer, I don't care if it's Facebook, if it's on our group, wherever, just get a hold of us, give us an answer. You can also figure out who our next guest is coming up in a couple weeks here in the next couple weeks. So looking forward to that. Sammy, let's take a quick break. Head to there, and then we'll come back and talk The Last Dance. This ain't a Garth Brooks song, baby. We're going to talk The Last Dance.
That's right.
You're watching the Behind the Mic show from the Cheap Seats Sports Bar and Grill.
Congratulations, Sam and Keith, on your 50th episode of Behind the Mic show. Couldn't ever imagine that this would have actually been a thing we're doing. But here we are, and I'm proud of you both. You truly are the Wayne and Garth of our generation. Congrats, boys. Way to go.
Bees Trees, your local ISA certified arborist with over 10 years experience, specializing in tree removal, tree trimming, and with free estimates. Call Greg Miller of Bees Trees today at 217-260-4551.
I'd like to congratulate my good friends Sam Irwin and Keith Gibson and the Behind the Mic show on their 50th episode, the most electrifying and entertaining podcast in the history of the world. Awesome achievement, fellas. Keep up the great work.
Back here on the Behind the Mic show, Cheap Seat Sports Bar and Grill. And Sam Irwin, thanks to Todd Volk and Colin Dickey. Todd thinks we're the Wayne and Garth of this generation. And I don't think he's too far off. And Colin, of course, thank you from you. Very kind words. We appreciate it. We are the most electrifying podcast in the history of podcasts and shows. We love it. We love it. We appreciate you guys supporting. And on 50 episodes, it's pretty special to us. Or anybody else thinks it is, we think it's pretty special.
We like it. Yeah. Hey.
That's what she said.
Not? That's right.
But Sam Irwin, let's talk one of the most highly anticipated documentaries in probably the last 20 years.
Ever?
30 years.
Yep.
The one that I was really looking forward to, everybody has, and apparently 6.1 million people we're looking forward to it on Sunday night. But that's
most watched sports documentary in ESPN history already.
Did you really expect anything different? Let's be honest.
I did not. But once again, that shows you how great that team was and how not only was it obviously all of us from Illinois and around that area, followed their every move, but nationwide, worldwide, I mean, they were a phenomenon. And even 20 plus years later, they're still as popular as they ever were to people that tune in.
But what do you think the 6.1 million, before we get into what it was all about and everything, the first two episodes here,
right?
But do you think the 6.1 million was partly due to the COVID-19 and not having any sports on at all, and people are clamoring for it and clamoring for it still? They need it, they want it, they gotta have it, they just want to do it.
Settle down. Yeah, I think that played a part in it too. I mean, there's literally nothing else going on in the sports world. This is something that's different. It's not, an old game that they're showing. Yeah, they showed clips and stuff, but this is something totally new. And it's just, gave us something to watch for a change. So yeah, pretty cool, man. And I think that has a lot to do with it, is the utter boredom, and it's just actually something sports wise to watch. And yeah, it helps that it's Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman as well.
So let's talk about episode 1. What was your take from episode 1?
Well, in watching this, and once again, I'd heard that basically they had told the director of this that a lot of people that are going to be tuning in are people that never got to watch Jordan play live, a lot of younger people. So they had to kind of slowly work their way into this and reintroduce you to who Michael Jordan was, take you back to his times as a kid. And, we knew a lot of this stuff that they said, right? But there was still some things that at the time we didn't know was going on. We didn't have the internet like we do now, and all of the Twitter and everything where you get instant news and the rumors. You just didn't have that. You thought everything was great because they're winning. But one thing I noticed right off the bat was the Jordan and Jerry Krause, your real father's problems, as Jerry Krause said, basically, and I think he misspoke, so they say, but either way, Krause got a little bit of an ego, and he wanted to be like, I did this,
right.
But he basically said that, the organization or the front office built this team. These championships are because of us. Obviously, Michael Jordan had a problem with that because, as Jordan said, the players win championships, the front office guys don't. Now, Keith Gibson, I want to ask you that, and those that are watching along, right now, who's responsible for those championships? Is it the players? Is it the front office? Is it the coach? Or is it just everybody doing their job?
Both. It takes everybody to win a championship. I think you had mass ego, and I love MJ. I think he's the GOAT. But you have ego there. And Jerry Krause, old dad, had a big ego.
Right.
Krause, though, shouldn't have said what he said. I mean, without a doubt. The front office has to put a team together, but you put that team together to win. So you're doing your job. And the players go out and play and bring championships. They're doing their job. The coach does his job. It takes a collective effort to win in any sport, and except for golf. I mean, one person can go out and win a golf tournament.
Right.
That's
Absolutely.
about it. Even then, it's tough, So, I don't think it's just one. I don't think it's the other. I think it's right down the middle, Daddy. Right down the middle with both sides.
Well, and it not only bothered Jordan then, but even in his Hall of Fame speech, if you remember that, he said, number one, I didn't invite Jerry Krause here. I'm not sure why he's here in front of everybody on live TV. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then number two, he brought it up again about the players when the champ. And I'm like, boy, that bothered you really bad. So they just didn't like each other. And if you watched closely, he was constantly poking at Jerry Krause, making fun of him about how short he was. He was overweight. He despised that man with everything in him. And there's a reason for that.
I don't get why we do that to Dad.
Yeah. I guess because it's just easy when you're 6'6".
But I think Krause brings some of that on himself too. Watching some of his interactions, with his rolled-up newspapers.
And that started long ago. That wasn't in their championship years. That started back when Jordan was young, as we'll get into later, of how he kind of didn't trust the front office, I don't think, too much. So
I don't blame him. It's Reinsdorf and Krause. I mean, you look at the Sox, you look at the White Sox, I'm not real happy with him. And just I don't know, Krause just rubbed me the wrong way. One thing I didn't I know that they, as you said, they were trying to reintroduce everybody to Jordan. People who didn't get the chance to watch Michael Jordan. I thought it jumped around almost too much.
Yeah, there was a lot of back and forth. Now they would do that on their little timeline. Now we're going here. Now we're going back here. Yeah,
right. That's the one thing I took from the first episode and the first night that I was not a fan of, and that's about the only thing, because I thought it was absolutely wonderful. I mean, I sat up until until it was over, which was rare for me. Usually I fall asleep on the couch. I wish they just chronologically do that and go and not jump back and forth. Let's talk about from the beginning and how we got to where we need to go.
Right.
And so I was kind of puzzled there. It puzzled me watching it.
Indeed. And of course they talked about when he got cut, in high school and then worked his butt off. His mom told him to, which is totally different than today's day and age.
So,
because,
I'm going to stop you right there. Yeah, it's totally different. So what would happen if in today's age, if he was the same guy? If his mommy just went to the coach and didn't make him work, Sam Irwin.
Well, let me tell you as a former school administrator how this goes. That parent, as soon as the kid came home crying because the kid thinks he's good, and then he goes home crying, mom and dad believe every word he says, the coach is picking on him, it's not being treated fair. Then the parents come in unannounced, storm through your office, sit down, and demand that their kid plays because their kid's the best. And then they want the coach fired. Then they want to coach the team themselves. That's how it would go today. And then they'd probably, want to get you fired too. But back in the day, as you know, if you sucked, the coach could tell you that, and the parents would accept because the coach was the coach. That's what my parents told me. He's a coach. That's his word. That's the way it goes. And then that's how we raise. Times are different now.
You just made us sound really old.
And well, we're not young.
That's true.
But his mom and dad, of course, told him, and he did work hard. He played against his brother more, worked harder. And obviously, here comes the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey used to say. But one thing I found out was cool is obviously the high school career went well. Ends up going to UNC, of course, has a great career there. But one of the best parts I thought that was cool was whenever they were talking to his mom, and she read a letter that Jordan had written to her back when you wrote letters. Once again, as we're showing our age. But he basically told her he only had $20 left. Picture that. Michael Jordan only has $20 to his name. He doesn't even bend down to pick up $20 at this point. Why would he? But I can't imagine. But it just wastes too much time, But and then he also needed stamps too. So if you can send those, that'd be great. Yeah, and sorry about the phone bill. So a broke college kid like we've all been, he was right there. Which, some people think, and obviously, a lot of players get paid to come to college. Apparently he was not one of them. But yeah, I thought that was kind of a cool moment in that first episode too. So
I like the fact that one of my cool things was when he got drafted. And I like the fact that he was riding a bicycle around UNC, and doing that. But when he got drafted, he just kept doing what he was doing, lived as a college kid, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah,
great.
Very much so.
First episode was good. My only complaint was the back and forth of going from 97 to 68 and the back. It was just all right. Let's just do this chronologically if we need to.
Yeah. A lot of flip flopping back and forth and things like that. But it is what it is. But so then we get, of course, to the NBA part. And of course, he comes in as this study. He played in the Olympics and did very well. Got drafted third, which, as they explained, people thought, my God, how can you draft Sam Bowie out of Kentucky over a Michael Jordan? What a huge mistake. But at the time,
right,
the Trailblazers had Clyde Drexler, who Michael Jordan played the same position as Clyde Drexler. Clyde Drexler was also one heck of a basketball player. Came out of the University of Houston, Hall of Famer. You're not going to replace him with a Michael Jordan unknown because he's a great player too. And in that league at the time, you didn't play multiple positions. It was you need a center, you need a shooting guard, you need a forward, you need this or that. You didn't have people playing multiple positions. So they needed a center. Well, Hakeem Olajuwon went number one, which is still, I have no problem with that number one pick.
The dream.
Why wouldn't you? Yeah, that worked out okay for Houston as well. So it just made sense that Jordan went third. So there's no issue with that. They had to do what they had to do. Obviously, the Bowie thing didn't work out, but what are you going to do? But then he ends up, once again, had a great Olympics, really showed the world that he was the best. Bobby Knight had some great things to say about him as well. And what I thought was also funny is when they talked about, as a rookie, he gets basically baptized by his NBA team. This NBA team that he went to, the Chicago Bulls, pre-Michael Jordan when he gets there, reminded me a lot of Semi-Pro and Jackie Moon's team as he walked into a hotel room and there's cocaine everywhere. And I forget what the name they called them, something about the Cocaine Cowboys or I forget what it was.
Like
something was the name of it. But yeah, and Michael was just, wow, never seen anything like that before. Country kid from North Carolina, and it was just chaos drinking. That was not, and he just left and stayed to himself, which was probably the best career move he ever made.
And he said, I was there to do one thing, was to play basketball.
Right.
So he'd get up and go and shoot and everything and get up early, which I thought was it told you a lot about his character early on in his career of what it would be later on in his career.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I think that's a good upbringing. You can tell his parents kept him, very level and instilled that hard work in him. And he's hard. And as they talked like to James Worthy, who he played with at UNC, James Worthy said he was better than Jordan for about 2 weeks. And then Jordan just continued out. He would pull James Worthy on the floor after practice, after they've practiced for 2.5 hours and played one-on-one to get better. He just outworked everybody too. So combine hard work ethic with phenomenal talent, and well, that's what you get. So there's a lot of people that are very talented. They just don't work.
That's why this show works, Sam Irwin.
Right. Talent and hard work.
Right.
That's it. You know it. But yeah, so I thought that was cool. And of course, he hits the big game-winning shot, for the championship in North Carolina, 6 around. And then, but then the NBA, as he found out, Keith, as we know, pretty rough sledding for the first couple years. Yeah, he was phenomenal, but the team sucked around him.
Right. Well, then he got hurt.
And then he got hurt. And then what I once again didn't know this at the time, and of course neither did the Bulls at the time. Apparently, he went back to North Carolina and was playing on the side. He'd play a little bit, and then the next day play a little bit more. And there was a 10% chance that he could have screwed it up and never played basketball again. But he couldn't stand it, because he's an ultimate competitor, and it'd drive him nuts because what else is he going to do? So he worked his way back up, and I found that interesting where they worked out a deal where he could play like 14 minutes a game.
Right.
And what was really interesting, and this is where the distrust with the organization began too. If you paid
couldn't go over a second over 14.
Not 1 second. And also the Bulls wanted to tank as well. They're like, well, Jordan's hurt. Let's just tank before tanking was cool. Get another great draft pick, pair him with Jordan, and we're golden. They didn't run that by Jordan apparently because Jordan's not going to lose on purpose or be okay with it. So they worked out a deal where he could play 14 minutes. Then Jordan figured out this ain't working. So he talked to his coach in secret about play me in the 14 most important minutes of the game. And he basically in those 14 minutes went nuts and ended up with the help of, I believe, John Paxson hit a big shot,
game winner.
To get him and got him in the playoffs. But that's where the distrust began because he wanted to win and he didn't think the front office wanted
because
to.
there was 32 seconds left in that game and they wouldn't play him because he was at his 14 minutes.
I would have loved to have interviewed him right after that game or during that time because you could see the look on his face. If he'd have had a gun, he'd have probably shot somebody in the front office at that point because that's the maddest I've probably ever seen him.
And that
at that point
was 1984, correct?
84, 85, something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
Way to start that relationship, Dad.
Yeah. It's like, so there's the distrust already. So they make the playoffs, and then for some reason, it was 14 minutes a game, and then once playoffs get there, you're good. So now they let him just play full game, and now comes with the Celtics, where he went for 49 in game 1 and 63 in game 2. Just went complete because you just unleashed a caged beast who just went ballistic. Now, granted, they lost both games because
that tells you how bad that Bulls team was.
Right. When you score 63 and lose, now, granted, Boston was also phenomenal. That was 1980,
Bird,
85,
Parrish,
86.
McHale, Ainge.
4 Hall of Famers, on that team. And but
Dennis Johnson, one of the best defenders ever to play in the NBA.
Right. And still scores. And they took turns. Poor Danny Ainge looked like he was on roller skates. I'm like, why would you do that to Danny Ainge? And then what was funny, too, that once again, you don't know because that's what's great about this documentary is after game 1, scored 49, him and Danny Ainge played golf together.
I love that part.
And Danny Ainge talked smack, and I'm like, man scores 49, and then you talk smack. It's like, what? That's a great idea. So then I guess Jordan told either his caddy or a coach or something like, don't worry, I got something for him. Tell him I got something for him. And then comes out and scores 63.
Yeah, he said, tell DJ I got something for him. And comes out and scores 63 because Dennis Johnson was the guy guarding him for most of that series. But,
right, yeah. But obviously showed that, a loaded Boston team against basically a one-man show at that time. This was before Pippen arrived, of course, so Jordan's trying to do it all by himself. And hell, even in that 63-point game, I think they ended up losing by, I can't remember. Well, no, that one was close. The 49-point game, they lost by like 15 points.
63 went to overtime and was pretty close.
Yeah, right. So he had a chance, but of course they ended up losing the series. And that's basically when Jerry Krause stepped in, where he does get some credit and said, this isn't going to work with this collection of guys, and started booting people, traded off some players, got some players in return. And the draft, of course, got Pippen.
Well, they traded Charles Oakley to New York and got Bill Cartwright in return. And they drafted Pippen and
also Horace Grant.
Correct.
Some good pieces that he needed because they didn't have a real center basically at that point in time. Even though Oakley was a good player, good rebounder, they needed a true center, which was Bill Cartwright, perhaps the ugliest shot in the history, of of the world, but it is what it is. But I guess it worked. So they started to rebuild, but it still took some time. But the Scottie Pippen trade, and I didn't know this, that Pippen was drafted by the Supersonics first. They had to trade for him.
I did not know that either.
Yeah, so I thought that was cool to learn that. But yeah, very cool. So, and once again, the back and forth is I'm trying to, follow along. But
it was hard a little bit, wasn't it?
It was, but it is what it is. So then they talked about where Krause, as it's called, the last dance, because that's what Phil Jackson put on basically the playbook to the start of the year of the camp. This was his last season. But Krause told Phil Jackson, and I quote, this quote comes from Phil Jackson, "I don't care if you win 82 games in a row." So this is for the last season to win title number 6. This is going to be your last year. So Keith Gibson and those that are watching at home, you've won 5 titles over a 7-year span. 5. Getting ready to win 6 because you're loaded. Now, granted, the team's getting older. I get that. But you're going to blow the whole thing up before you could possibly win 6. You don't want Pippen anymore. You think his prime is gone. You don't want Phil Jackson, maybe one of the greatest coaches ever. Michael Jordan, you're going to piss him off because Michael Jordan said, "I'm not playing for anybody but Phil Jackson." So you're going to lose him too. So it's like, what are you going to rebuild to?
Well, that's the problem. That's why Krause, and I get Krause's side here.
Mm-hmm.
He's a GM. When you're this good and have this nucleus of people, there's no there's no sunlight, no limelight on you.
Right.
You blow this thing up, all of a sudden everything's on you.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was.
Now,
and he didn't like
now,
it.
is he an idiot? Yes. You've got the greatest player to play the game, maybe the second or third right next to him, one of the greatest teammates, the greatest duo ever to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the crazy and Dennis Rodman. You've got Mr. Triangle Offense himself and Phil Jackson, Mr. Zen.
Mm-hmm.
What are you thinking, Jerry Krause?
Well, here's my question, though, too. Obviously, of course, we know they win the 6 titles, so no spoiler alert there. Everybody knows it. So it worked out they win a 6th title. But then everything goes away. Pippen's gone. Jordan retires. Phil's gone. The team's crap. They haven't won or been relevant since. They had a little bit with Derrick Rose, but then his injuries, they got the
right. He won an MVP, but they haven't done anything else besides that.
Nothing since those glory years. So my question to you is this. Had Jerry Krause at the end of that 5th year, instead of getting that 6th title, and the owner, of course, he's should they have blown the team up after that 5th title, would it have reaped more benefits down the road?
No.
No. So do you take the 6th title or do you blow the team up after 5 and
you take the 6th title?
Because you could have traded Pippen away, draft picks.
Yeah, but Jordan, if you blow that team up, Jordan's gone. Phil's gone. Scotty's gone. The
Right.
whole thing's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And you have no swan song. And you have no iconic shot in Utah.
But my question is this, though. Okay, if you do all that, Jordan just retires anyway. He's not going anywhere else to play right after that. He's done. Possibly. Now, if he goes somewhere else and then whips your ass, boy, you really look like a fool. But if he just retires like he did after 6, then no big deal anyway. So if you trade away a Pippen, if you trade away a Rodman or cut it, now you've got all this cap space. Now you can build the team back up with younger talent and continue that success.
But why would you?
I know. I was going to say, if you win 5, you let the players and the coaches determine if you can hold them together, get a 6th one, it's fine. Do your job after that, which he didn't do a very good job after that because it, didn't go well. But
don't talk about my father, Jerry Krause, like that.
Mm-hmm.
Makes me
so
sad.
and the thing of it is, and like I say, those guys are getting old. You hold on, and then like Coach Tackett, is falling along, like the Celtics did. A lot of those guys got old too, and boy, the Celtics got bad real quick. So it's do you keep out of loyalty because of everything they brought? Think of the money that Reinsdorf made. Think of you'll never
hand over fist.
I mean, my God,
And then Jerry Krause's wrist over wrist.
And chin after chin,
right?
But it makes you wonder. Like, do you reward loyalty, which we'll talk about here in a little bit with Pippen and his loyalty?
Well, let's move on. Let's move on to that. Really, let's move on to episode 2 here, and it focuses around Scottie. Scottie Pippen as what I couldn't believe in some of the stats that were thrown out was unbelievable. So Krause is wanting to get rid of him. Trade talks in the offseason before 97. Scottie Pippen was the 122nd highest paid player in the NBA.
6th on the team.
$2.8 million is all he was being paid.
There was somebody on the bench.
Now he signed a 7-year contract.
Yeah, he did.
To put himself in that.
Mm-hmm. because he had a lot of family at home to take care of them. So he signed a 7-year, $18 million deal. That was it. So they're in a matter of winning 5 championships. He's making $2 million a year, while Michael Jordan in those last 2 years made 35 and 36.
No, 33-1 the last year.
Oh, I'm sorry.
33-1.
One and 36.
Hold on, and
yeah,
the cap space that year was $26 million.
How's that work out?
Not sure. That's
because
what I read.
the NBA wants the Bulls to keep winning because it gets ratings.
Right,
That's how that works.
right.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to mention before we get into Scotty here is, did you notice in the first episode how tight David Stern and Michael were?
Oh boy! Well, that's his cash cow, man. That's how you let Michael drift off in that little middle of the run. Remember when Michael went away for a year and a half and played baseball or whatever? There was allegations. I'm not accusing him of anything, but allegations of a severe gambling problem. And once again, before Twitter and the rumor mill, they let him now. Once again, as he says, with his father being killed, he needed to step away. That may be, but there's allegations of a severe gambling problem, and him and David maybe work something out to go away for a year. Then you can come back, and that'll all go away. Supposedly, allegations. I accuse no one of anything. But yeah, they're very tight, tight.
Yes,
but
Scottie Pippen.
But a smart move by David Stern.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Ranked sixth on the Bulls in salary. Ranked first in rebounds, assists. Second on the team,
especially in the playoffs. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Had to carry the Bulls when Jordan wasn't there. And I could see, you could see just watching some of the film footage, how unhappy that man was.
Oh yeah. Well, number one, you're a phenomenal talent, and you got to play second fiddle. And I get it. Jordan's the superstar. He's the one getting the endorsements. As I shared today on the Behind the Mic Show page, about the best endorsement Pippen got was that 6-foot-long sandwich commercial. Which was obviously a local commercial. If you've seen that, I don't know if you saw that or not.
I haven't seen that yet. No.
Oh, it's a great piece of It's not like Gatorade, that's for sure. Not like Nike, but anyway. And we don't know what Scotty was making, on the side or anything like that. We don't know in terms of endorsements, but in terms of basketball money, yeah, not great. But as Phil Jackson said, Pippen was the number 2 player in the league.
Right.
So if you're the Bulls, you have the superstars, number 1 player in the league, and maybe ever. And a lot of people's estimation, the best to ever do it. And then he's got the number 2 at the time. And even Jordan said, I never won championships without Pippen. And he wouldn't have won near as many without Scottie Pippen. So my question to you is this, Keith Gibson. Scottie did sign the contract. He did do that. And this was back before you could really renegotiate, I guess, or whatever. And it goes on later where, as Pippen got his foot operated on, if you recall that.
Yes.
Right before this last season, as basically thumbing his nose to management, and let's see how you do it.
Well, and he waited. He could have got it early in the offseason. He waited till late in the year.
And that's one of the most interesting things that I thought, too, was when they interviewed Jordan about it, Jordan called him selfish for doing that. Now, Keith Gibson, if I'm Michael Jordan and I say that I don't win many championships, or I never won championship without him, and you need him, and you know how little he's playing for, and you know how much you're getting.
Why aren't you in his behind?
Why? Well, and not only that, but I'm sure they had discussions. But here's my real question. If you're this ultimate teammate and you care about Scottie Pippen, why aren't you going to the front office with Pippen and tell the owner and tell the general manager, you pay this man or I don't play either?
Well, maybe MJ.
Do you think they're going to tell Michael Jordan no?
Well, no.
Right.
But I don't know if old MJ wants to get his as much as he can get.
Well, good God, how much do you need? He made, as we know, he made far more off endorsements than he did basketball.
Right.
And granted, for a lot of his first part of that contract through the runs, Jordan wasn't making a ton of money either. It was backloaded,
right?
As we know, with the 30-some million. He was making, not much more than Pippen really in those first few years. But if you're making 30-some million, you can't come off a little bit of that and say, hey, give my boy Scotty some more. He needs some.
Well, I don't think it was just Jordan. I don't think Krause wanted to negotiate. I don't think Reinsdorf did either. If you heard Jerry Reinsdorf during that, he said, I tried to tell Scotty not to sign this. This is a long deal. So Reinsdorf is one of those guys, and we've heard this for many years from White Sox and everything. He won't renegotiate a contract. He won't.
Right.
Wouldn't.
Well, and I get it too. A contract signed just like any of us. You sign that contract, you fulfill the contract. That's the way it is.
But how much money has Pippen brought into them?
Yeah, exactly. And once again, without Pippen, you're not winning 6 championships. You're not doing it. I'm sorry.
No.
Maybe 1 or 2, maybe. Come on. You got to have, as we've seen in the NBA, it's never done alone. I don't care. Michael Jordan, yes, if not the greatest, one of the greatest, 1A, 1B, you do what you want in all the terms of that, but you have to have great teammates, at least one to do that. You've seen it throughout. Nobody wins it by themselves. So I found that odd that he called him selfish while he's making 30-some million over each year while Scotty's making 2. So I didn't care for that too much, and I get what he says. He could have done that, foot surgery much sooner, but I think it was to a point of let's see how you do without me. And as we've seen, they struggled early on in that season without him. So,
yeah, that's kind of where episode 2 kind of leaves it.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm anxious to watch Sunday.
What happens? That's right.
That's
right.
I'm anxious to watch Sunday to see where they move on from here. Of course, it's the next 4 weeks, I believe. Is that right?
That's right.
Next 4 weeks for back-to-back episodes. So exciting times. A lot of things to talk about. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back, talk a little bit of miscellaneous sports that we haven't got a chance to talk about yet. Maybe a little wrestling, maybe a little, who knows? We'll come up with something. No, I'm kidding. We got stuff to talk about. We'll come back and then get our final thoughts, and then we'll end the show tonight. So you're watching the Behind the Mic Show, the Cheap Seats Sports Bar and Grill.
Keith Gibson, Sam Irwin, Behind the Mic Show, Big 5-0. Congratulations, boys. Best podcast out there. Thank you for everything that you do for our hometown, the local community, local sports, and the high school, keeping up with the coaches, keeping up with the players, keeping us informed on what's going on back home. I appreciate everything that y'all do. Thank you so much. Keep it up. Looking forward to the next 50.
Do you have kids? Do they need a pet? Look no further than Turner's House of Goats. They have happy goats, jumping goats, one-eyed goats, and sleeping goats. Stop by Turner's House of Goats in Bible Grove, where goats are great and prices aren't bad.
Hey, this is Marion head football coach Kerry Martin, congratulating Behind the Mic on their 50th show. I've been great to be a part of so many great shows with you guys and look forward to being on again in the future. Good luck. Congratulations. You guys are the best.
Back here on the Behind the Mic Show as we wrap up the evening. Sam Irwin, talk a little about miscellaneous sports. Just a couple tidbits out there. Don't forget do you want to give everybody our Bees Trees trivia question again, just in case they forgot? Or
yeah, absolutely. A little teaser for future things. Who is, and we even put New England Patriot. Why not? Because obviously they do more winning than everybody. But who has the highest winning percentage, minimum 200 games played in the history of the NFL? Highest winning percentage of all time in the history of the NFL, minimum 200 games played.
Winning, if you give us a correct answer, you get a shirt and a hat from the Behind the Mic Show. Well, I mean, what better gift can that, thanks to
I can't think of anything. Yeah.
We talked about baseball earlier. We've talked about NFL. We've talked a little bit about the NBA, of course, with The Last Dance. Golf is saying that there's only going to be one major this year, with everything moving later. NASCAR, who cares? What? Oh, did I come out of my mouth? Did I say that loud? Oh,
it did, and I fully understand that. Yeah.
I can watch the first few laps. I mean, I've been to a race. It was a lot of fun, but I was drinking too, so whatever. But Sam, anything else you got to cover today as far as sports go, or anything else you want to talk about?
No, man. I think we had overall we covered at least we had some sports stuff to talk about, which was nice. And of course, leading into next week, we'll have 2 more parts of the Bulls documentary. I'm anxious to see where that goes going forward.
Yeah, we got 5 weeks of it, buddy.
I know, and like I said, he left us with Pippen on the bus, basically cussing out Krause, and that's great. So we'll see where it goes from there. But yeah, and what a great interview with Dana Howard. So that was fun to have him on, and what a talent. But it's cool to check in with him, and of course we got to talk about the NFL draft, and of course this Thursday night, we're going to do the draft live. And
boom! Talk about acting.
Yeah, that's right.
So one of these.
Yeah, hey, boom. But maybe we can get a telestrator and mark it up a little bit. But no, I think it'll be a cool and fun time to do that. It's a way to spend the evening. Lamar Jackson, it came out, is going to be on the cover of the new Madden.
I don't like that.
Oh boy, get ready for a snap leg. But didn't. In fact, Mahomes, he broke the curse. I mean, so maybe the curse is dead.
Well, is Madden alive?
I don't know.
How much money is he making off these games still?
Oh, a lot more than he did coaching or doing
right
sports on TV, I think. So
Right.
Worked out quite well. But no, man, great show overall. It's nice to get 50. Hopefully people that were watching enjoyed it. And, we'll hit her again next week. Any closing final thoughts? Or
let's take a quick break and come back and get our final thoughts in from there. And we'll move forward from that. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
All right. We'll be right back here on the Behind the Mic show with our final thoughts.
Hey, guys. Just wanted to congratulate you guys on show number 50. Trust me, it's Landry's favorite thing to fall asleep to every night.
If you need a taste of Southern Illinois, then visit the all-new Bosco's Biscuits and Booze, home of the world champion daily special. 2 large, all-natural, juicy white meat chicken breasts, a side of the famous What the Hell biscuits, and a bucket of the cheapest beer in stock for only $6.99. Located at the corner of Old Milwaukee Boulevard, next to the Primo Hooer Hotel. Bosco's Biscuits and Booze. It's world champion food and cheap-ass booze.
Back here on the Behind the Mic shows, we wrap things up there. I think we had a little technical difficulties with Brent Johnson's. Congratulations, but thanks to Brent and for wishing us a happy 50. And say we're through 50 episodes, my friend.
I know.
We have had we've now had Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
We've had a World Series champion. Episode 1 with Spencer Patton. We've had some incredible guests. And who knows, our next one may be Super Bowl and 3-time winner.
Might be. I mean, sky's the limit. Sky's the limit. So yeah, we continue to try to make it bigger and better for everybody, even without whispering in our ear. So, that's important. And
that's what
after
she said.
After maybe a couple drinks, but no, we do it because we want to entertain. We want to give you guys, and you know what, and of course we're in our final thoughts.
I want to stop it for a second.
Oh, sure.
Before we do our final thoughts, I want what was one of your favorite memories of our first 50 episodes?
Oh God. Well, man, there have been a bunch of them. But really, I mean, I got to go with recently. That night that we did the review of the Tiger King was one of the funniest. It was hilarious. The interaction, that's what I like the most, is the interaction with the people and the comments. And I sat there and laughed and laughed and laughed, just things like that. But it's been cool to, and like talking to Drew Ferris, getting to talk to him in person, a buddy, or not a buddy now, but just a guy that I knew through Twitter that played for Florida. That was cool for me, just as a personal deal. But I mean, we've talked to so many different people, and I mean, just having people that, old friends that like the show and just things like that. I always enjoy Wes Turner's review that I give.
As do I.
Every week.
And
that's always nice.
Me. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I'm glad that we, and my favorite thing too is really helping out his goat trade. I think that's been important to really get him back in the goat market, because it's been down. But now, ever since he's been on the show, a lot of goat sales, goat milk, baby goats. He is West Exotic, and I think that's important. That people need to know. So if you need a goat, Bible Grove's the place to be. He's not hard to find. Go right in the center of town. He's right there on the left.
He loves us.
He does. How could he not? So but I hope to get a free goat out of the deal at some point. But, what about your favorite part so far?
My favorite part of our first 50 episodes would have to be our Friday night Mike segment we did. I enjoyed talking to coaches every week, and I love high school football, and just getting their reactions, getting in touch with, giving everybody a preview, not a review, as well. My favorite thing is, and I enjoyed having Coach Martin and Coach Tackett, Coach Groves and Coach Johnson and Coach Skinner and every coach we had on. It was something different every week, and I think it was something different for all of our listeners and fans. The support we got when we did the 2 high school playoff games for Flora and Benton both was just phenomenal, and that's probably been my favorite part. I mean, it's just been watching this little baby grow of 2 guys who said, let's just do this and see where it goes, and here we are at 50 over a year later with more than 11,000 downloads of a podcast. Now we're doing a live show on Facebook every week, and it's growing faster than my belly, and that's pretty fast, my friends.
Ooh, indeed. I like that.
But or growing faster than doubt that I can make 5 3-pointers. I'm not sure which is faster right now. But no, that's been my favorite part. It's been fun. Right. It's been fun sending out hats and shirts and everything to everybody, and just feeling love. I mean, really, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, seeing the interaction, the feedback. I mean, it's cool. And like, a lot of people have told us, man, it's weird how people like, man, you don't know how much I enjoy that 2 hours. Just listen to us, just talk about just basic random things of sports that people that are maybe far from home, or having a bad time, whatever, they put it on it and they can laugh a little bit, something like that. I mean, that's pretty damn cool when you can do something like that. So
one of the
neat.
nicest compliments, I sent it to you. I got this weekend actually.
Mhm.
Dr. Caleb Lusk. A lot of our
Mhm.
listeners know Caleb, and he's out in California working in the ICU and ER. Him and Dr. Ian Ridge, both from Florida, great guys, reached out and just said thanks for doing this show because it helps him with his mental stability, gives him good laughs, and just kind of gives him a taste of back home. When somebody says that to me, we don't. People don't realize this, but we don't make any money off this show. We have sponsors and stuff to
That's right.
buy hats and T-shirts and give them back out to everybody. We do this because we enjoy doing it. We love to talk sports, and if we can entertain the masses, the millions
and millions,
right,
or hundreds, whatever,
or tens, but whatever. But we do it because of that reason, and so that really hit home this weekend, and it just made me feel really good.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
So any final thoughts besides those?
I mean, that's about it. Like I said, it's fun to do this show. It gives me something to look forward to on a Tuesday night, good way to stay connected. And like I said, man, I just enjoy the feedback. Just talked with Jordan Tolliver at length this morning, just about ideas for the show. And that's what I like is people are sending us ideas and, hey, what about this? Or what do you think? It's kind of like a small community, if you will, now that's pretty, it's almost like a little cult,
well,
if you will.
We have almost 800 people in our Facebook group.
Yes, we do. Very cool.
800.
Yeah. So I know, it's bigger than Xenia, but
wow, I never thought of it that way, but yeah, it is.
Well, you gotta have something, But no, it's something fun to do. And like I said, it's really it's helped me stay in touch with you. It's helped me stay in touch even more so, with Rugg in Texas and Wes. That sometimes there for years it was just we'd meet we'd talk to each other maybe once every couple months and see each other in July. Well, now we're basically every week, because we're talking about this show and then it turns into another conversation. So it's cool like that. Colin Dickey, hell, he's clear in South America and enjoys talking. We just got people all over. Brian Lane, the way we get to talk with him about it. It's just cool that it helps us stay in touch with our friends better than before.
We bring everybody together.
It's just one big lovely family.
One, that's what she said at a time.
But no, I don't really have any final thoughts. I just think that's kind of cool of how it's kind of come together as that of starting off with just two guys that were bored and thought they'd talk about sports, and here we are.
So my friend, to you,
hey,
cheers to another 50.
Ooh, absolutely. Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Behind the Mic Show, episode 50. Thanks to Dana Howard for joining us. We really appreciate it. Good to hear from him. NFL Draft Show, Thursday night, 7 o'clock. Tune in, cheapseatsbar.com Facebook page. It's not going to be there. I may have a cutoff on that night. I don't know. I may go crazy. I don't know what I'll do. But we'll have fun with
Whatever.
it. We'll have fun.
Will.
I'm sure there'll be people join us. But to you, Sam Irwin, thank you for the first 50, sir. It's been a
absolutely
pleasure.
Thank you.
And let's keep growing, keep moving, and who knows? Maybe somebody will want to bring us on and actually pay us to do this someday.
I'm not going to hold my breath
I'm
on
not
that,
either.
but
I'll
I don't
die.
care. Yeah,
But it's all right. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Behind the Mic Show. For my co-host Sam Irwin, I am Keith Gibson. Thank you for joining us this evening. God bless and stay safe.